Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am back from the dead, bringing to you our world's group stage predictions for the first half of this group stage. We have quite a lot of games to discuss. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm still partially ill, so I do apologize if my voice gets a bit graspy, but I've got one sort of evening to do this also. Without further ado, let us jump into our results from the playing stage and then the predictions for day number 1. So let's go over the results from our first set of games. Day 1, we got 4 out of 8, which was literally the first 4 games of the day, which was LNG HLE, Infinity versus Red, LNG versus Peace, and HLE versus Infinity. Day 2 went fairly better, 6 out of 8, dropping Galatasaray C9 and URL Beyond. Day number 3, 3 out of 6, so we did very well here, 13 out of 22 for the normal scheduled games. Actually, I tell a lie, I have the 2 tiebreakers in there. But to tally up the scores, the games that we predicted correctly was Beyond beating URL, DFM beating Beyond, and LNG beating Infinity. Now going into knockout stages, these were Twitter predictions, same with the tiebreakers. Galatasaray versus Beyond, we went 3-2 Galatasaray, in actuality it was a 3-2 Beyond. Game number 2 saw Peace and Red Candice on the Rift. I predicted a 3-1 to Red Candice, and Peace won 3-2. So we had a full 5 games for 2 series, taking 10 games in a day, if I can get my words out correctly. That was a very long day, especially when you have Korean English casters casting from Korea. Yikes. Day number 2, which has just happened moments ago. HLE vs Beyond, I predicted a 3-0 to HLE after some changes to Beyond happened. We don't need to discuss them. It was a 3-0, so we got a perfect prediction and a correct prediction. And C9 Peace, I wanted the poetic justice of the NA 4th seed beating the 3rd seed, and I went 3-2 to Peace. The actual result was a 3-0 to C9. So going from the longest day possible to the shortest day possible is always a good sign, and as such we can roll on into this week's predictions. It's time to get into the first 24 games of the group stage. There is 48, not including tiebreakers, and oh boy, thank goodness we're only doing half of them in this video. There's a day of respite that I'm going to get the next 24 games out for, luckily, once we have a sample size of these groups. So, what better way to kick it off with the taste bud tingling matchup that Riot knows we want. FPX and Damwon Kia kicking off the tournament. You've got Doinby versus Showmaker. This is an incredibly interesting matchup because you've got the current world champs against the former world champions. In fact, there's a year difference between the two of them being in the finals, and that's a big old difference because you've got the very bruiser heavy mid lane roam mad master in Doinby going up against the Showmaker playmaker. As for results, I'm gonna just say I've gone with the current champs Damwon Kia winning this matchup. I'm really looking forward to it. And I would say focus in the mid lane matchup, but I'm actually going to say look at the top lane. Noguri against his former team. That's such a big statement. I'm not too sure how that's going to turn out, but it's going to be explosive. I'm really looking forward to it. And as such, it's not my match of the week for some reason. Perhaps there's something a bit more close to home that we've selected for that. Anywho, Damwon Kia win the first matchup of World's Group Stage. Game number 2 is an interesting one. It's an MSI rematch of sorts as PSG take on Royal. Never give up. The current MSI champions return to Worlds for first time in a while. They weren't there last year. And as such here, they are going to have some tough competition, especially considering they're going up against PSG, the strongest team out of the PCS. Yeah, this is going to be fun. As such, who do I think's win? I've gone with an RNG win, though don't be surprised if the PSG squad roll up and decimate this LPL side, as it has happened before. But if we look at the matchups, let's just say it's going to be a canyon diff across the map. He's just going to sink the entire PSG squad into the crater that is a canyon and decimate them with his sort of picks. And then the rest of the RNG squad's just going to sit there and do their sort of thing and then pick up the win. That's kind of the RNG style. It's slow, methodical canyon carry games. Pretty simple to describe and pretty simple as a concept. So we go from RNG PSG to Fnatic versus Hanwha Life. The playing squads coming into this with a bit of fire, going 3-0 in their last series. Now they face a Fnatic squad who are looking to put EU in a winning position. First game of a home representative here in this tournament, and as such, they're going to be looking to win this game outright against the 4th seed from Korea. Now, Fnatic have this sort of very chaotic style with unique picks in that top lane. Will we see them? I'm not so sure, but be surprised if we see some picks like the Tryndamere going into Adon's hand. Now, as for their jungler here, Bwipo, it wouldn't surprise me with him getting his hands on the Talon or Qiyana, though it's not sort of one of his playstyle champions that you'd associate with him. As such, we may see something like an Olaf or a slowed down pick like a Lilia maybe. But Hanwha have had experience on this patch, so have technically Fnatic, but in scrims, and there's always a difference between the scrims and then play-ins, and then play-ins to groups. There's always a change, or a slight change in terms of priority and picks, and this may be when we see it, and Fnatic hopefully will pick up the win here. Game number 4 is Gen G LNG. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the 4th seed from the LPL is gonna pick up the win here against the 3rd seed of the LCK. Not gonna lie, I've not been a fan of Gen G for a while, and as a whole I think LNG is slightly stronger, considering they have not dropped a single game in play-ins. They're on a hot streak. They're gonna absolutely decimate this LCAK squad. K5 sees T1 versus DFM. This is gonna be fun because it's the return to the stage for this LCK squad. It's been a while since we've had this team at Worlds, and as such, they've got a lot to prove, they've got a lot to show, and Faker Daddy is gonna be here to put on that clinic as the LCK representative. Is gonna have some fun here, especially against the LJL. This is kind of a local region rivalry, I would say. China to Japan, kind of close. And as such, I like this matchup. Sadly, I don't think the LGL squad will like it as much, as it's going to be probably a clear decimation by T1 here. As you just got to expect, the guy who's spamming out Singed on EU West is going to have a toxic performance and dismantle the LGL. I love day ones of tournaments because this is the intro day to the teams that we're going to see throughout the entirety of the second half of this World Championship. As such, when we see EDG versus 100 Thieves, you're going to be seeing a lot of action as two teams that have kind of had a bit of a break since the World Championships in terms of them being on the stage. 2018 was the last time we saw 100 Thieves here, and they've qualified this time as the first seed from NA, and they're going up against a very tough challenge in EDG, who could potentially dismantle this 100 Thieves squad, which is kind of what I expect them to do. Though, 100 Thieves could break the NA curse of making it out of groups if it's not C9 that does so. As such, you have to consider here, 100 Thieves are possibly the favourites in this matchup, but I still feel you can never put EDG down. That's why I've gone with them winning here. Now we have the first EU versus NA clash of the World Championships, with another 3 on the horizon throughout this week. Oh boy, TL versus Mad is our first matchup of the week, and we get to discuss the roam game. NA, known for their supports not sitting in lane, Core JJ 0% with tactical throughout playoffs. That's how much he roamed in all of TL's series. As for Mad, you kind of have to look at mid lane roam. The Rise pick being very predominant for Humanoid, and that's a big thing to note. He likes to roam, and he was a very big player for this Madline squad throughout the entire season. He kind of carried. He was the best mid laner in the league by far, and as such you kind of have to look at him to be the superstar carry, especially against the former EU mid laner in Jensen. Now, don't get me wrong, Madlines have a lot going for them, and it's why I've gone with them, don't get me wrong. But when you get to the world stage, TL become a different beast. You look at this roster, they're pretty much an EU squad, let's be honest. I'm gonna just discard any NA in them. They only have one player from NA. The rest of the lineup is EU or Korean. Sorry, China. Sorry, I mixed up where Core JJ was from. But as such, you have to realise it's basically an EU versus EU matchup. It's going to be a barn burner. And as such, I really am looking forward to seeing Madlines decimate TL. Day 1 finally ends with another EU versus NA clash. I told you there was one on the horizon, and C9 Rogue looked to make it a banger. I really think this is going to be one of those C9 off days in terms of this prediction, because they have hit or miss games. Let's be honest, they lost to URL and DFM all on the same day, 2 teams you expect them to beat, and that took them out of the auto qualifier 2 groups, and they had to play a best of 5 against Peace to get it. We all know that, it's just happened today, but Rogue are coming in fresh. They're going to need that. They're going to use this advantage of being unknown, and I'm really looking forward to Inspired versus Blabber. You have 2 very aggressive junglers who are looking to fight wherever possible to get themselves ahead, to get the teams ahead, and that's going to be interesting to see if C9 can weather a rogue storm that's going to be coming down, especially considering, looking at the rest of the matchups, how close or equal they can actually be. And as such, let's move over to day number 2 after I've predicted a rogue win. T1 EDG. That's a good old banger to kick off day number 2. And yep, I've gone with a T1 win. This is kind of a classic that we've seen before at Worlds. I like it as a whole. And yeah, you've just got to realise T1 have a lot to prove, same as every team. But they're just going to probably decimate everyone in their group. That's how I feel about the group they're in. It's more than likely going to be them advancing and EDG. So these are the top 2 teams I feel are going to be facing off. NA have no hopes in this group. And it's the same with DFM. It's going to be T1, then it's going to be EDG, 100 Thieves, and then DFM. That's my prediction for that group. I haven't locked in my pick'ems yet. Oh well. But that's what I expect to see, especially now that I predicted a T1 win for the opening game of day number 2. Now, Group A was labelled the Group of Death, and there's a reason why. You've got Damwon Kia in here, you've got FPX in here, C9 and Rogue. Basically, all major regions in this one group. And let's just say this now. Damwon Kia versus Rogue sees the first seed from the LCK against the LEC's third seed. Now, this is gonna be a slaughter. And I, for one, feel Damwon Kia are gonna decimate Rogue here. And personally, let's just say it right now, Rogue are getting bodied. Which is unfortunate, but kinda true. H-L-E versus P-S-G, or PSG versus Hanwha Life. This is gonna be funny. I'm gonna be honest, because everyone will probably expect me to say PSG here, as you have a battle that's gone on for the test of time between Maple and Chovy. Instead, I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off and say I've gone with HLE winning. They've had the time in play, and that's the simple thing. They've had time to beat teams similar to PSG in terms of Beyond, who they 3-0 by the way, and PSG have beaten and lost to Beyond throughout this season. So I've just got to say, HLE probably will have a strategy to deal with PSG. That's kind of why I've gone with them winning here. So now we go to another Worlds Classic in RNG versus Fnatic. Yes, EU versus LPL continues to thrive here. And you just know I'm going to be contradictory with my opinion on this matchup. Usually we see the LPL shine against EU in World matches, except in the group stages. So when I say LPL versus LEC in a group stage, you know I'm going to go with the LEC for this one. I've gone for Fnatic winning out against RNG here. You just have that feeling that maybe we're going to see an upset of sorts. Maybe we're going to see a squad like Fnatic just decimate at Worlds. I'm not saying they will, I don't expect them to, but it could quite honestly happen, and this is the sort of matchup you kind of want to see them do it in. As such, that's why I've gone with another Fnatic win here at Worlds 2021. Now we've got FPX C9. Kind of going to be fun here, because this is where we have Doinby versus Perks. This is a matchup a lot of people have their eyes on, especially after G2 lost in the final to FPX. Yeah. And I'm not going to comment on that. I did an entire series breakdown on that back in the start of the AA series. And yeah. Yikes. And yikes again, as I've gone with FPX winning here. Yes, this should be an interesting matchup, but interesting in a way is where FPX show up. This is going to be close, and superlatives aside, you've just got to look at a roam game here for this matchup. Blabber and Perks need to be working on a better pace and tempo than Doinby and Tian. Going to be hard to do, don't get me wrong, but they need to do it in order to slow down, suffocate FPX off the map. Target Norgri if you want. Get Fudge ahead. He is the most improved player in NA for a reason. It's because he's now at the pinnacle of this league. So, if you want to beat the strongest or one of the strongest LPL squads here at this World Championships, you're going to need to beat them at their own game, decimate them across the map. And Sven and Vulcan just carry like you do. Yeah, you may have looked a bit iffy during the start of the series that you've played against Peace, but once you get them 2v2 early lane kills, you're unstoppable, and that's what you need in order to beat this FPX squad, even if I don't think you will. Will DFM take their anger out on another NA squad? That is the question here for 100 Thieves versus DFM. I'm not gonna say they will, because I don't think they will. I just think 100 Thieves are gonna surprise us at Worlds. They're gonna bring some explosivity to the championships. Something that we don't normally expect to see from NA. And usually when I say that, you have to look at the roster. Someday is a unstoppable lane god in the top lane. Yes, when he's been at this league this year, he wasn't that unstoppable god, but he still performed solidly for 100 Thieves, which is what they need. Jungle, closer, runner-up to MVP. That's how good he was. And the MVP from NA isn't even at this World Championships. That tells you a lot. Abadage. This guy is a reject from EU, came over here to NA, and has looked unstoppable. He is playing these picks like his Karma, that granted isn't in the meta right now, but you look at what's in the meta, that's flavor for the guy. Did you know? I think this guy solo killed Faker. But what's that? He's getting another shot at Faker in a couple games time. Wow. That's gonna be career suicide for me if I don't like this for the rest of it. And then bot lane, you've got FBI and Hui. These two have been monsters in NA. And yeah, I think they're going to be little monsters here at the World Championships and possibly decimate the entire bot lanes during this group stage. So this is going to be a 100T win, and it's going to be unpretty for DFM. Mad versus Gen G. It's a team that's made it to the two worlds that they've been able to go to, and losing out in planes last time, we don't need to talk about. This time they're bouncing back as EU's first seed, and they're up against a team that's consistently made it here to the World Championships in Gen G. Do I think, though, the LCK squad is going to decimate, dominate, and rule this championships with their rule and bot laner? No, I think this is going to be the international event. Kazi and Kaiser don't get absolutely bodied. Usually when you discuss the Mad Lions bot lane, they do stellar during the regular season in the LEC, but then when it comes to internationals, they just get decimated. And Humanoid is the big boy carry that's done a lot of work for this lineup during this regular season. He got the Mad Lions to this spot with the roam game. I've discussed this in the TL matchup. I think, personally, this is going to the Mad Lions. And I don't normally predict a Western team beating an Eastern team. But I still feel Mad are the strongest team in their group. Hands down. And Mad need to show why they are EU's first seed. Because if EU's first seed cannot beat a team like Gen G, there's no hope for EU at this World Championships. And that's saying something. So, with that, I've gone with a Mad Lions win. But don't be too surprised if Gen G knock Mad down a peg. The final game of day number 2, TL versus LNG. I'm not saying I've predicted NA, because I definitely haven't. I've gone LCK, I've gone Tarzan, it's not LCK, it's LPL. I've gone Tarzan decimating TL. Job done, no need to say anymore. Dive 3, RNG versus HLE. Is there any other way to say RNG will win than RNG will win? I say this with doubt in my eyes at HLE. Because How My Life struggled against an LPL squad in LNG during the group stage, and LNG were not the first seed out of the LPL, and this is a team here in RNG who's just won the most recent tournament for international competition in MSI, and spoiler alert, they're looking to get another trophy here at this World Championships. That's why I've gone with them winning here over the LCK representatives. Time to speedrun! Mad vs LNG, I've gone with a mad win, job done. Time to slow it back down to FPX Rogue. The reason I say slow it down is because these two teams are quite slow in terms of their play. You'd say Rogue are the textbook squad that have a plan to win, and drop my pen as they execute that said plan that's written down with a pen. As for FPX, yeah, they're the go button team. Explosive, unpredictable, you name it, it's the LPL style that's gone down in history as devastating. And that's why I like this matchup. That's why I've gone with a FPX win. The explosive style versus textbook style, you always favour the explosive because they're just there to break the written down structured approach. That's what they do. That's why I think FPX are going to win. If the band-aid's been ripped off already, it's time to rip off the entire arm. PSG versus Fnatic. I'm EU. I normally base my opinion say EU is a strong region. Not against PSG, who I predicted winning here. Let's be honest, I would go Fnatic. Normally, it's Fnatic. But it's also Fnatic who are the most unpredictable EU team here. That being said, I kind of have to say, if the Fnatic of playoff shows up, they're gonna absolutely smash this PSG squad. If it's the Fnatic of the start of the season, yeah, maybe not. I definitely think this could be a yikes matchup, and that's kind of why I see PSG winning. Just looking at the mid lane matchup, Niski was the big carry for Fnatic during playoffs. I never rate him at internationals, that's the thing. He tends to be a bit iffy, and as such, going up against PSG, I could quite honestly see them beating Fnatic here. Well, Genji versus TL's now the next matchup that we're discussing. I want to discuss how I think that TL are going to be the 0-6 NA Omega LOL team that TSM was last World Championships. Can't say that sadly because I predicted him to win here against Genji. I'll be honest, I've never been a fan of Genji as a team, but I've never been a fan of TL as a team. And this is kind of a sleeper ball matchup for me, which is why we're covering it as an AA in the second. Oh no, we're not. We're definitely not. So I've gone with a TL win, NA supremacy, Omega LOL. Yeah, I'm not even warranting a lot of an explanation. I'm too exhausted to do that. Oh look, another MSI rematch between C9 and Damwon Kia. C9 have beaten DK at the MSI Championships in a best of one. That needs to go on note before we predict this match. Will they do it again? Nope. I don't think so. I think Damwon Kia will win here. They're the current champs, man. They've just decimated the LCK again. I don't need to explain everything. Showmaker has probably had the most torrid time on EU West as possible for 2 splits in a row now, but he seems to, when he has this time, step it up during international events, and as such, we kind of got to expect it here as we enter into our second to last matchup. That second to last matchup is EDG versus DFM. Yeah, I don't want to spend time on this because EDG should win, LJL should not win. Simple. Finally, I can put my voice to rest with the last matchup. 100 Thieves versus T1. Normally I would say LCK supremacy against NA, but I'd be joking if I was gonna say that. I've gone with 100 Thieves win, baby. NA are gonna come out swinging here against this squad that's won so many world championships before. And yeah, I'm just gonna say I've gone with 100 Thieves win. I'm gonna bring the tempo back down from that hype. Yeah, brutally honest, I don't know why I've gone with 100 Thieves. Even more brutally honest, I just have a feeling that we're gonna see upsets this week, and upsets like this are what people want to see at World Championships. So that's why I've gone with a prediction of this. There is some logic to it that's too hard to explain, but yeah, that's my prediction here. But 24 predictions down, another 24 to come on Thursday. Thank you very much for watching the first half of the group stage predictions. I apologize if my voice again is not the best. I have been ill, and why you've seen some changes in upload over this weekend. But as I usually say, if you enjoyed this episode, leave a like down below. Subscribe! Oh god, I shouldn't have done that. If you're new around here, if you want to, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.